Welcome to Talking with Nana. I am your host. We're talking about the revitalization of the city of Detroit. Guess what? Detroit is making a comeback. We have new businesses coming to the downtown area, and it is so gorgeous if you haven't visited lately. We also have nonprofit organizations that are empowering the community. Also, we have a new television show, Talking with Nana, that's going to take off nationally. And the mother of them all, the mother of them all, guess what? The Super Bowl is coming. Talking to Mr. Ken Kittenville, and he's the Vice President of Communications, and finding out how you sitting on the couch watching me, how you can get involved with the game. I talked about our free pass to the game. Well, actually, I'm sorry to be misleading. It's not in the game, but how you can get involved with learning about the Super Bowl. We said they were coming here, and they're here. I'm talking to Mr. Kittenville. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Let's talk about how you all just, the process of getting here. I mean, it's so much going on, and everyone has this feeling like someone loves Detroit. You all love us, and we appreciate it. Let's talk about you all being involved with the game.
Well, Super Bowl is going to be great for the city, and there is a buzz, and I think that buzz is just going to intensify as we get closer to the big game. But there was a lot that went into the bid. There's only 12 cities across the country that have had the opportunity to host a Super Bowl, and Detroit is the only northern city to host it twice. So I think it says a lot about the community. It says a lot about what we have to offer. It talks a lot about this beautiful facility that we're in today at Ford Field, which was one of the, the catalysts to getting the game here as well. So it is exciting, and we're going to be ready for it.
Let's elaborate on the process. How long did it take for you all from the initial bid to now?
The bid was actually submitted back in 1999, and the game was awarded to Detroit in the year 2000, November 2000. So we've been at this for a while. The host committee was officially launched in 2002, and it's made up of people here locally, from the community. There's a misperception sometimes where the NFL comes to town, and there's people that travel around with Super Bowl. We do have two people on our staff that have actually worked on Super Bowls before. One of them is from Frankenmuth, and he wanted to come back home, so this is his opportunity. So we have a mix of people. We have a diverse staff, and they do care about Detroit, like you said.
I also want to talk, recently we had a Super Bowl, and I think for the first time I got involved with the game. It was at the end of the Super Bowl, and I thought about how it's going to affect the city of Detroit. Let's talk about some of the programs that you all are doing right now. We had a winter blast that was so gorgeous. I didn't get a chance to be a part of it because I was scared of the cold, but it's so much, it's almost to the point where so many activities, what do I need to do to get there, to be a part of it?
Right. There's a Super Bowl really is a week-long event now, and as you mentioned, we did launch the Motown Winter Blast in January of 2005, and that event event's going to be the backdrop to 2006, and I think from the crowds, we had over 275,000 people that came down, and it was cold, and we did have 12 inches of snow in the middle of it, but it was still a great time. It was a great winter blast, and Mother Nature cooperated with us. But some of the changes you're going to see in 2006, there's going to be an outdoor concert. We're going to extend the blueprint or the footprint of the event, if you will. We're going to move things around a little bit because, of course, we have the big game in town. So we have to do things differently to accommodate the visitors, the 100,000 visitors that are going to be here in Detroit. So we'll have that going on. The NFL will bring to town the NFL Experience, which is an NFL theme park that will take over Cobo Center. It's a great event for families, for kids. It's punt, pass, kick. The players are going to be there signing autographs. There's concession stands. It's just it's a neat way for families to come out and sort of touch football a little bit. So that event will be going on, and then there'll be a variety of other smaller events and parties and events that are going to take place during Super Bowl week and even the weeks leading up to Super Bowl.
Let's talk about the city of Detroit, the core Detroiters like myself who said, we have events that come to Detroit. We have different people who come to Detroit, but am I involved? Can I get involved in it? Will we be forgotten, the core city of Detroiters who've been here, who've been waiting for great things to happen in our city? How are you engaging the business community, the organizations, the nonprofits, as well as the small businesses? That's
a great question. One of the things that one of our objectives with the host committee here is to involve the community as much as possible, and there's a variety of ways. For small businesses, particularly for women and minority-owned businesses, the NFL has a program called the Emerging Business Program, and what this is, it's an opportunity for emerging business partners to learn to get plugged into Super Bowl opportunities. So there will be an opportunity for them to possibly bid on Super Bowl business. And the other component that's very important is there's a series of workshops that are going to be held by the NFL throughout the year that engages these businesses and teaches them best practices, teaches them how to team up and partner with other businesses to handle accounts. So that's one way. We have a sanctioned event program where organizers in the community, if they want to hold a special Super Bowl event and have it marketed and promoted by the host committee, there's a variety of guidelines that they have to follow based on the NFL, what they're going to allow. But one of the components is proceeds from that event have to benefit a local charity. So that's a great way for a local charity to get involved. And charities that want to be considered as a recipient for some of those events, they can log on to our website or give us a call and fill out an application, and we'll get them involved. Of course, volunteering is a great way. It's a way to touch the game and feel part of the game. There's a variety of opportunities that we have throughout the Tri-County area, and many of them are going to be in the city of Detroit. And we want residents to come out and put that smile on and welcome those visitors that are coming. And we know our city, and we can tell them where's a great place to grab something to eat and how to get around to places. So those are three ways that the community can get involved right away.
We talked about volunteers. How many volunteers are you anticipating in having? We're looking at 100,000, or we're looking at just 200,000. How many volunteers, and do you have enough room for more?
Actually, the goal is to get a little over 8,000 volunteers, which is it's a huge number if you think about it.
I want to say 100,000. I said we have to have 100,000 volunteers. I want the whole community saturated with volunteers in Detroit.
8 to 10,000 volunteers will help us with that goal. We are expecting 100,000 visitors, and different events are going to take place on different days. So we can still use more. We have about 6,000 people in our database right now, and I think that's a testament to the community. We are overwhelmed by how many people have called us and logged onto our website and said, I want to help, and I just think that's what this is all about. It's about community and getting people involved.
Okay. Now, and it was so interesting, during the winter blast, you had a lot of volunteers come out and were part of it. How did that process go?
Worked out really well. In fact, it was noted how many volunteers were around. You may have noticed them. They had the red skull caps on throughout the weekend, and they were engaged, and they had fun. We make it fun for them. We feed them and give them nice clothes to wear, and then they get to interact with the visitors and the people enjoying the event. So it went very well, and we're expecting that to continue for 2006.
Let's talk about the aftermath, and that's one of the concerns of core Detroiters. And I say core Detroiters a lot because I hear what's going on in Detroit. I hear about, what happens after they're gone. And I remember sitting down with Stacey Clayton and listening to her really talk about how the effect is going to be powerful even afterwards. But those core Detroiters wonder, when the Super Bowl is gone, is it gone? Will you abandon us? Will these businesses still be active and going on? Will we keep that excitement here?
Well, that's a great question, and there's two ways I'd like to answer that question. One of the ways we're going to measure success is when visitors come into the city and then they leave and they go back to wherever they live across the country, we want them to say, wow, I learned something about Detroit. Or, those are great people. They're so friendly, and the city has really made a comeback. And, if we can, change that conversation about Detroit and use Super Bowl to do that, then I think we've hit a home run. Or for football, we scored the winning touchdown. But I think that's one way. I also think it's important for the community to feel a part of the game. That they touched it somehow, whether they maybe saw a superstar, or they volunteered, or they were able to enjoy some of the events with their families that were related to Super Bowl. I also think there's a revitalization, as you mentioned in your intro, that's been taking place in Detroit for years. And I think what Super Bowl has done, sort of put the goalpost in the ground to give people a deadline to shoot for to get projects done. And I think one of the neat things about this is when Super Bowl leaves and rolls out, the new restaurants and the new businesses that have opened up in downtown Detroit are going to stay. The new roadways and the streetscaping that they're doing is going to stay. The new all the freeway construction that they're doing around town. We need that to stay. They're not going to rip up those roads. So all these improvements that they're making are really more for quality of life for the residents, and it just so happens that the deadline is going to be right around Super Bowl time. But businesses will stay, and I think that's a key thing, where all these improvements that you see and all this headache that we're going through now with road construction is all for the good for all of us when it's over.
Two things we need to clarify. Even though you're a volunteer, doesn't mean that you can get a pass into the game. So I know a lot of you all want to volunteer to say you saw the Lions who were part of the Super Bowl game. Hopefully.
We hope the Lions are in the game. That would be great. It's never happened. You never had a home team play in their Super Bowl city. It would be wonderful. I think for the community, absolutely. But yeah, unfortunately, for the volunteers, we don't have any volunteer opportunities inside the stadium on game day. The NFL takes it over. They're going to lock it down, and there's a lot of special security measures that they have to do because it's Super Bowl. However, there's a lot of other jobs that volunteers we need them for. So.
I appreciate you talking to me. Is there anything else that people need to know, like a phone number or contact information? Is there a specific person, I know that you're a busy man, a specific person that handles the small business or the volunteer efforts so that they can contact them directly?
Absolutely. The best way to get a hold of us, if you have access to the internet, log on to www.sbxl.org. There's information in there about emerging business program, our sanctioned events program, people that want to just maybe sign up to volunteer, or they can give us a call at 313-262-2006 for Super Bowl, and we'll direct those calls to the appropriate person.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Listen, we're going to be talking about more of the revitalization of the city of Detroit. I thank you, Mr. Kenton Bell. I appreciate that. I was trying to say his name right. I was a Kenton Bell, but that's German. So German men had the bell in it, right?
Yes. Did a great job.
I appreciate you. Until next time, keep empowering yourself. Bye-bye. You're watching Talking with Nana. Welcome back to Talking with Nana. We've been talking about the revitalization of the city of Detroit, and we are here in the Detroit Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I'm talking to Mr. Jim Towns. Let's talk about what you do.
Well, I'm the executive director of the Tourism Economic Development Council, which is an organization that was formed to implement a 10-year vision for growing tourism in Metro Detroit.
Let's talk about the getting the game. We want to get right to it because so many people are seeing the billboards, are really excited. I've seen some of the commercials. And so how do Detroiters get in the game?
Well, let me explain first that, the next 4 years are really a once-in-a-generation opportunity for Metro Detroiters to reintroduce our city and our region to the world. And it's really going to be all of us who get that message across to the rest of the world. So this campaign is all about getting Metro Detroiters to take advantage of the things that are happening in their city. The new development downtown, the stadiums, the riverfront redevelopment, things happening in Midtown, the growth and revitalization in some of the neighborhoods. All these things are really positive. And, if we're going to change the image of our city, which really is important, it's going to start with all of us. So the campaign is designed to give people information, tools, maps, coupons, discounts, values, so that it's easier for people to find out and get involved in their community.
You talk about getting in the game. Let's talk about the mom and pop shops who want to know more about this. May not have access to the internet, or core Detroiters who've been here for years, who've been waiting for this moment and saying, well, how do I get in the game? Because I may be intimidated to come and approach someone like you. What can they do?
You know, I mean, first of all, I want people to understand that everybody will benefit from the success of this campaign, because if we grow Metro Detroit and the city in particular as a tourism destination, businesses across the spectrum are going to benefit from that, because the more people come and visit here and spend their dollars, they're going to leave their dollars with businesses big and small in every part of the city. So that, number one, everybody's got a stake in this. Number two, though, anybody can get involved, anybody can get in the game, because what we're really talking about is coming on and having a good time. Coming to events, going to a restaurant or going to a ball game, or doing things that we all like to do, but maybe we've gotten out of the habit because we think, oh, there's nothing to do downtown. Well, there is a lot to do downtown. So regardless of where you live, going downtown or going into Midtown or experiencing the cool stuff we've got in our city is really going to be a benefit to everybody.
Okay, tell me about some of these cool things. It's a Friday night. I want to hang out with friends. Where do I go?
Well, in the last year or so, there have been 18 or 20 new restaurants have opened up in downtown Detroit. I mean, you're talking places like Selden Blues and Sweet Georgia Brown. I mean, the list is long. Clubs, bars, places that you can go and have a really great time, hear great music, and really every kind of music. I mean, run the gamut from gospel to rap to hip-hop to, to techno music. So there's an incredible amount of energy that's really coming out in Detroit. And, it's only really going to have an impact, though, if all of us come out and really patronize these places that have, these business people have come out and taken a risk and invested in our city. We need to patronize their establishments and make them successful.
Let's talk about the aftermath, and that's one of the questions a lot of core Detroiters have. 4 years after the campaign is over, after the Super Bowl is over, after people have kind of gone, what happens to our city? Where do we go from here?
Well, our vision, in the next 4 years is to really change the dynamic, the conversation that we have about Detroit. Right now, you ask a Detroiter about their city, and, statistics show that we don't think very highly of ourselves. The Gallup poll, which is a polling organization, goes around and asks people their opinions. They did a national poll, and people outside the city think more highly of our community than we think of ourselves. So in 4 years, if this campaign is successful, and if we have all these events where we come in, where we bring the world in, and they have a great time, we believe that people are going to start talking differently about their own city and their own community. If that starts to happen, you're talking about 1 million residents, or roughly 1 million residents in Detroit, and 3 or 4 million people surrounding Detroit in the surrounding communities. But that's 4 or 5 million marketing reps, who are going to be going out every day into the world and saying, Detroit's a comeback city. It's really happening this time. It's not hype. It's real. Okay. That is more powerful than $100 million in advertising, because every day when people are getting that message out, it's changing perceptions. Well, that's only going to happen if we get involved, if we get in the game, if we go downtown and have a good experience and we tell our neighbors about it, if we go on a tour, we're going to be sponsoring a thing called the Detour, which is a bus tour that will let Detroiters come and take a guided tour of the changes that are taking place in the community, starting at the riverfront, which is a place, when that's really fully developed, every person from every community will be able to come down and enjoy, a gem, which is the riverfront. And right now, obviously people don't think there's anything to do down there, but actually there's a growing green belt. There's a beautiful track of green space that's being created along the riverfront that's going to be a catalyst for lots of development, commercial, residential development that's going to happen along the riverfront. So we have a riverfront someday that rivals the lakefront they have in Chicago.
That's right. We're going to be in the competition, right?
Absolutely. And we have one thing they don't have. We have an international border. And when you look across the lake in Chicago, you're looking across at Michigan. When you look across the river, you're looking across at another country, and you're looking at the busiest border crossing in the whole country.
So if someone wants some information and want to learn how they can get involved, what's the number they can call, or there's a website?
There are two things. The telephone number is 1-800-DETROIT, and the website is theworldiscoming.com, www.theworldiscoming.com.
All right, then. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for your interest.
Thank you. Bye-bye. This is more of Talking with Now. We'll be right back with more good conversation and folks who are talking about revitalization of the city of Detroit.
You're watching Talking with Nana.
Welcome back to Talking with Nana. I went straight to Metro Detroiters to find out what is going on in the city of Detroit when it comes to our Metro Detroiters. I am in Elysium, where Metro Detroit gets a taste of paradise. And joining me is Heather. Thank you so much for being here. You're one of the managers here. Let's talk about the revitalization of the city of Detroit and how it has affected your lounge, as well as a lot of Detroiters who come here just to relax and talk about what's going on in the business community.
Oh, thank you, Nana, and welcome to Elysium. I'm glad you had the opportunity to visit us today. First of all, I'd like to say that we just had the opportunity of hosting the Major League Baseball All-Star event on this previous Monday, and it was just a fabulous event where tourists and people visiting the city of Detroit got to see not only downtown Detroit but our lounge, and we had an opportunity to welcome them all. We also have some upcoming events with the Super Bowl. Looking forward to that. We have Paris and Nikki Hilton will be hosting a party here. We've had the mayor have a couple functions here. We've had all from Chauncey Billups to Kid Rock, you name it. Our club has been branded with different celebrity appearances.
Let's talk about this new movement in Detroit with the new generation of Detroiters that come here. What are some of the things that they're talking about?
Well, with the revitalization of downtown Detroit, we've had the opportunity to welcome our guests from suburban Detroit and inner city Detroit. A lot of our professionals that office in the downtown area don't go home now. They now like to enjoy a nice meal, have a nice dinner at Seldom Blues, or come have a martini here at the Elysium. And it's nice that people aren't going home, that they are now considering home downtown Detroit.
As a Detroiter, as a hometown girl, how does this feel? Did you ever dream about this moment to see Detroit, the next booming city in America?
Well, as a Detroiter, I've always had a lot of confidence in knowing that my city, the city of Detroit, is one of the major cities. And when people say, "Oh, you're going to be the next Chicago, you're the next New York," we are Detroit, and we are the new Detroit, and we're here to welcome outside visitors and to enjoy a piece of what we've had an opportunity to enjoy all of our lifetime.
See, it's simple. The revitalization of the city of Detroit is bringing back the young professionals as well as the new baby boomers who are energetic and live and having a lot of fun. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nana.
And come on out and enjoy yourselves. We'll be right back with more of Talking with Nana.
You're watching Talking with Nana.
We're in the beautiful Elysium. As I said earlier, it is a taste of paradise. And we're going to show you some great shots around here. And Heather, tell us about this lounge. Why is it so different? It distinguishes itself from other lounges. It has a different feel, like it's the upscale lounge. You have to experience it.
Thank you, thank you. Well, Elysium Lounge is actually a unique combination of both sophistication and elegance. We offer a happy hour during the day where we cater to the mature professionals that come to Elysium to unwind after work. They enjoy a martini, they have a cigar, they enjoy our comfortable lounge-style seating, listening to smooth jazz. Now in the evenings, on the weekends, our club opens up both levels. We have 4 bars, 2 levels. Wonderful DJ plays awesome dance music. People get an opportunity to let their hair down, dance, tableside bottle service, you name it.
So, of course, if you want to sit back and enjoy elegance, come to Elysium.
You're watching Talking with Nana.
Thank you so much for joining Talking Nana. I really appreciate you being attentive and watching our shows. I have to thank all our sponsors and those who funded us. I want to first thank Public Benefit